This is something that usually never works and you probably shouldn't do. That is how this Reddit post starts. This is day 6 of sharing link building tactics from the SEO subreddit. This is the last day. 6 days in a row sharing these link building tactics from reddit.com/r/SEO, the search engine optimization subreddit. And this one is called No Links to Heavy Links. You're going to get the principle first of what this means, then a nuance of where you can actually do it, when you can go from no links to heavy links, an explanation of why, and then a reiteration of the principle, and then I'm going to give a recap of the last 6 days. That's what I got for you on episode 526 of The Edward Show. No links to heavy links. This is something that usually never works and you probably shouldn't do unless the situation is perfect. If you don't have a backlink profile and you aren't ranking well for your target keywords, suddenly pushing out a total ton of links won't be a good idea. However, there are some people who do rank well for keywords but don't have much of a backlink profile. In this case, we went from a very low amount to a high amount in 1 month. And the result was a client ranking for a myriad of revenue-driving keywords. They're in the photo accessory business and sell direct to consumers as well as to big sporting events and Hollywood. To double up on this, I've done this for another client who ranked 96 for a 70% difficulty keyword, but 50,000 a month volume. They weren't ranking for that particular keyword very well, but ranked well for a huge amount of other keywords. So the danger was omitted because they were already a big name in the space, so it was logical for people to link to them. By ratcheting up fast over a few months, they're now where they wanted to be. And this is the principle. You shouldn't usually go from no links to a ton of backlinks over a short period of time. And link builders and SEOs who suggest this, they don't have your best interests at heart. But if you're already ranking pretty well for a high volume / relevant keywords or similar keywords, you can get away with it. This worked well. Remember, the links for these clients were great links, websites with strong traffic, relevant, great content, etc. Nothing spammy at all. I don't want people thinking they can buy a load of bad links and expect this to happen. So the principle is if you're not really ranking for anything, you're not ranking on Google for anything, you don't have an existing backlink profile, you haven't gotten lots of other good backlinks. So even if you have lots of backlinks, you might not be ranking on Google. If you have lots of great backlinks, you actually might not really be ranking for much on Google because you're not doing SEO, but you still have a good backlink profile. You're not doing on-site search engine optimization, that is. So if you have a good backlink profile, but you haven't really done much on-site search engine optimization, you can ratchet up the velocity of backlinks you get. You can ratchet it up pretty fast. You can increase it pretty fast. But if you're not ranking for anything and you don't have a backlink profile, going from 0 to 100, that's dangerous. That can get you a penalization. That can get your website seen as spammy, all sorts of things. Or maybe you don't have much of a backlink profile, but you are ranking for lots of keywords. You're getting to be sort of a name in your niche. That in which case you can increase your backlink velocity a good amount. And if it's not done in a spammy way, it actually could really benefit you. And you could go after more competitive keywords. Remember, powerful backlinks or lots of backlinks are best for when you want to go after the most competitive keywords. These are keywords that are being targeted by lots of other websites. Maybe they represent huge purchase orders, or they're very lucrative in that the purchase orders, they're not like a lot of customers, but they're just huge amounts of money, or there's some other leverage, or the keywords get a lot of volume. So they're competitive for these reasons. And in order to go after the most competitive keywords, the ones that lots of other people are targeting, it helps to have backlinks. It's not always the case because lots of companies don't know how to target keywords properly. So it's not always the case. Even like the most competitive keywords I've seen personal injury lawyer keywords that are not targeted properly, or keywords in any of these very high CPC niches where the websites are just not targeting these keywords properly, and it's insane. And then you see websites with much less domain authority that are targeting the keywords properly, and they're beating the more authoritative websites just because they're making separate pages for these keywords. And they're not super long pages. They're like 400 to 500 word pages. They're not 1,000 word pages. People don't really want 1,000 word pages, 1,000+ word pages. and then they're ranking for these keywords just because they're targeting them properly. But you might have an instance where the keyword is competitive and your competitors are targeting it properly, and that's where the links come in handy. That's where you want to start having links. But this principle is, if you don't have any backlink profile and you're not ranking for keywords, going and increasing the velocity. Velocity is an important word in algorithms, in social media or search algorithms. The velocity of your engagement, if it goes from 0 to 100, especially if it has a history of being at 0, then it'll look a bit suspicious. And that's what this author is saying. So this was day 6 of 6 of sharing link building tactics from the SEO subreddit. And the recap is, I actually started with another one that was part of this. And then I said a few days later, I said, yeah, I think it'd be interesting if I did the rest of these from the SEO subreddit just day after day after day in a row. And the first one that I shared was low domain authority sites increase Google rankings. And this was when websites that are just going after high domain authority, the most authoritative sites to get backlinks from, if you're just doing that, you're not going to have a natural backlink profile. You want to mix it up. And so going after sites that are low domain authority, niche mom and pop blogs, for example, that gets you a more natural backlink profile. That was the first one that I shared. That, by the way, was episode 514, low domain authority sites increase Google rankings. The next one, episode 521, exact match anchor text hurting Google rankings. Pretty dangerous to do link building and have all of your links use the anchor text, which is the keyword that you are trying to rank for. That is seen as incredibly spammy. And so I share a story of this SEO who is actually going after generic anchor text. These are like click here or this or more details, generic anchor text, the type of thing that you would actually have just normally over a hyperlink. Click here is a very common one. And then the keyword that this SEO was going after was next to the generic anchor text. This was a much more natural backlink profile, looked a lot more real, still had the keyword next to the link, and the pages that this link was in was relevant to the keyword and to the site and to the niche. So that was number 2, which was the first day of 6 of 6, where I did 6 in a row. The next one, episode 522, ranking for high volume keywords 1 year early. I thought this one was so cool. This is something that I've done myself. And it's, if you want to go after an annual keyword, a keyword that is only popular for 1 year. So for example, in 2025, in 2026, keywords that end with that. The best SEO trends for 2025. That's an example. The tactic is to actually target these keywords months and months and months, or even a year plus in advance, because people will start searching for these keywords usually around the end of the year to see what the trends are for the next year, or to look at what's going to be popular the next year. So it'll be Q3 and Q4 that these keywords start getting real search volume and become really competitive. You want to be ranking number 1 for these keywords way before, with good content and some strong links, because remember, these keywords are going to be competitive. The best way to do that is to go after them early. The best trends in your niche in this year. So the tactic is you go after these keywords several months or even a year plus in advance, and you do that every year. And I thought that was so cool. I did that. I was ranking for SEO trends in, I think it was 2018. I wrote an article, SEO trends in 2018, but I made that article in May of 2017, and no one had written anything like that at the time. And I did that. And so I was ranking number 1. And then when other articles started, I didn't even do any link building for it. But when other articles with link building started popping up, I was still in the top rankings just because I'd been ranking for this for so long. The next one, episode 523, was backlinks from generic websites increase rankings. This is when you are in a hyper niche category. So your niche is very tiny. And there are only so many sites that you can get backlinks from, so many directly relevant sites that you can get backlinks from. So what do? You go after more generic websites. So for example, you might have a very specific type of engineering, biochemical, medical engineering, something super specific. And there's really not going to be that many blogs that you can get links from that are directly relevant to you. So what do? You widen the field and you go after more generic websites. For example, Popular Mechanics or some science magazines or even online business magazines. And what you do is, because these sites are more generic and maybe your article is not going to be hyper specific to your niche, then you position a section in that article, which is hyper-specific to the niche. And it could be one section or 3 sections in a row. So that way you have this whole part of the article that you appear in that is directly related to your niche, and it goes kind of deep into it. And that makes the backlinks that you get a lot more valuable. That was episode 523. Episode 524, using a simple linkable asset to rank in the finance niche. I love this story. Linkable assets are anything that's useful, cool, or interesting that compel others to give you backlinks. Calculators are popular ones. And there's a company in the finance niche or law niche, and they had a page that they were trying to rank. Their content was pretty good. It was about on average as their competitors. And what did they do? They just had a simple calculator built, threw it onto the page, and that made their page dramatically better because now it's interactive. The page is a lot more useful. This turned the page into more of a linkable asset, and they got links because of this. When the websites that they were trying to get backlinks from were deciding, who do I get links from, this site or one of their competitors, they went to this site because the content was better. And it was made better with this simple calculator. And I also share in episode 524 lots of other linkable assets that can be built. I love linkable assets. I make them all the time myself. They work really well. And then the episode before this was ranking on Google for competitive seasonal keywords. So these are keywords that become popular for only a season every year, and then they're not popular anymore. And these are the most competitive of these seasonal keywords. And the truth about these keywords is they fluctuate a lot. They're so competitive, their rankings are always going up and down and up and down and up and down. So the tactic is to target them really well right before the season gets popular. Because if you target them too soon, you might fluctuate down right when the season hits, when the peak season hits. You don't want that to happen. You want to be at the top for the high season. So you target these keywords a few months in advance of the high season. And then when the high season comes, you're ranking number 1 for them. Thought that one was cool. That was episode 525. And this is episode 526, explaining the nuances of when it is okay to dramatically increase the velocity of links, of backlinks that you get. And that takes us to the end of, it was really 7 days, but it was 6 days in a row of link building tactics from the SEO subreddit. As always, the link for this will be in the description for this episode. And that is all for episode 526 of my daily digital marketing podcast. It's a lovely day, sitting out right in front of my window, so I just have such a beautiful light flowing onto me. It is, what time is it? It's 11:45. I'm feeling so good about today. I hope you're feeling good too. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.